Tonight I'm going to tell you about Deputy Marshall Xavier Dolls from the Black Badge Division. But before I get into his character, it's Black Witch Month, which means that for every day during the month of February, so long as the clock doesn't play any games, I'm going to be covering a Black Witch. Now this year we're expanding the gamut and including all kinds of supernaturals. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. Now simply put, the Black Badge Division is basically the supernatural arm of the US Marshals. But you can add in elements of the FBI and CIA. Their goal is to go out and contain and eliminate any supernatural threats to the US. Now, they do this globally as well. Now, the Black Badge Division does appear to operate globally, but usually when they have to deal with the threat, it ends up in a very catastrophic use of nuclear weapons to contain that threat. Basically, they will blow a city off the map if it means containing the supernatural elements or the supernatural things within it. Anyways, that's when Deputy Marshall Xavier Dolls comes into play. And for those of you who aren't aware, this is from the TV show Wynona Earp, one of my favorite TV shows of all time, but it's been a while since I've seen it, so some of my details might be a little shaky. In the event that they are, though, just drop it in the comments. Now, Wynona Earp is a Western-themed TV show that takes place in Purgatory, Wisconsin. Now, Purgatory is a bit unique because it's a place people seem to go to, but are never able to leave. And this is because it's full of demons. Now, these demons have been around for a very long time, and although they can be killed, they will regenerate. But not to worry, there's a family of gunslingers that's been taking care of Purgatory and the revenants inside it for generations. The famous Earp family. Now, if the Earp last name sounds familiar, you might like Westerns, you might like Doc Holliday, and you might like gunslingers. Well, take that and apply this to this TV show. This show follows the Earp descendants Wynona Earp, the titular character, and her sister Waverly as they combat the revenants of Purgatory. Now, in the case of this TV show, the humans can leave Purgatory, but the demons cannot. And this means that Wynona Earp, knowing her family's legacy and dealing with the trauma of childhood, left Purgatory and didn't come back for some years. However, there were forces that brought her back, and now she's here to stay, dealing with her family's legacy and the bullshit that comes with it. Anyways, back to Deputy Marshall Dolls here. Now, we meet Deputy Marshall Dolls in Season 1, and at first glance, he's straight-laced and high-strung, hard to get to know, hard to crack, and he's pretty stoic. Of course, this is in direct opposition to Wynona, who doesn't give a damn about what anybody thinks. You're gonna get to know her as soon as you meet her. She wears her heart on her sleeve, and she's very expressive. Now, Deputy Marshall Dolls, as a member of the Black Badge Division, has a very particular purpose in coming to Purgatory, and that's to contain the threat that is the Revenants. Now, of course, upon meeting Wynona Earp, the two start off on rocky ground, but upon realizing who she is and what her legacy entails, he realizes that the best person to help him with the threats in Purgatory is the only person who can beat them herself, and that's Wynona Earp. So although on the surface he's a pretty honorable guy, he's not above the mission, and he does do what it takes to complete it. In this case, that means blackmailing Wynona Earp into working for the Black Badge Division as a contractor. Now, of course, Wynona disagrees with this at first, and she protests, but given the terms of their agreement, she eventually relents and they become an unofficial team. Now, because they're unfamiliar with each other, they go through all of the growing pains associated with that. That entails trust building, getting to know each other, figuring out their quirks and idiosyncrasies, and all of those things that would make someone tick. Now, they eventually get to a point where they make common ground, and they find that they are actually able to rely on each other, and this would eventually lead to the two developing feelings for each other. Unfortunately, though, unbeknownst to Wynona, at least at first, Dolls has a bit of a secret. As a member of Black Badge, or at least a member of the Black Badge Division, Dolls has been injecting himself, or at least being injected with some sort of super serum. However, instead of turning him into Captain America, it turns him into some reptilian creature, and in order to keep that at bay, he must continuously inject himself with some sort of serum. The contents, of course, are a mystery, but he does need it to survive, otherwise those reptilian instincts will take over. However, in this form, he does get some major enhancements. One, he's extra strong. Now, he was already strong. He was prior service. He's also a member of the US Marshal, so he has to maintain physical fitness standards. So he already had that on lock, but even more so in this form. He does experience physical changes under the influence of this reptilian thing that's inside of him. It causes his eyes to change. He takes on more reptilian behaviors, the way he moves. He also appears to have the ability to breathe fire. Now, we don't ever get an answer to what exactly that serum was mixed with, but a lot of people speculate it was some sort of dragon serum because a lot of the attributes he displays are that of a dragon. Again, the lizard-looking reptilian eyes, the ability to breathe fire, the super strength that comes from that. But all of the evidence points to that, and I'm inclined to agree with it myself. In addition to this, though, he's also an expert fighter. He's a martial artist. He was trained by the Black Badge, prior service. Again, all of that ties into those physical attributes. He's also a great shot, perfect marksman. I don't know if he's as good as Wynona is, though, but she does have some supernatural enhancements. Again, her gun is literally magical, but even on her worst day, I don't think he's as good as she is. Anyways, personality-wise, Dolls is a lot of things. Again, sarcastic, stoic, reliable. His team can count on him to do things and be there for him. He's not above blackmail. I mentioned that earlier. He will get the job done. He's smart and he really cares about those he loves and considers friends. Now, of course, this applies to Wynona as one of the most attractive girls in Purgatory. In fact, one of the few who's not a demon. He does eventually catch feelings for her. Sadly, he gets caught up in a love triangle between Wynona Earp, Doc Holliday, and himself. And before he can even realize these feelings, the two do kiss, but he sadly dies at the beginning of season 3. Anyways, as far as personality goes, he was serious at first, but throughout the series, he really warms up and he creates really good and strong bonds with the other characters in the TV show. One of my favorite relationships of his was the relationship that he had with Doc Holliday. Now, Doc Holliday is a charismatic character if you have ever watched one. This was my first experience with Tim Rozan, or I guess Tim Rozan. I always loved him since then. I don't think it was supposed to be as good as it ended up being, and I wish this was something that they spent more time on because their dynamic was actually really cool. I also really enjoyed his relationship with Waverly, Wynona's sister, and I didn't mind his relationship with Officer Hot either. Unfortunately for Wynona Earp fans, at the end of season 2, beginning of season 3, Shamir Anderson had a lot of career opportunities outside of the show, so with the blessing of the show's creators, they wrote a fitting end to a fitting character, and Shamir Anderson's character, Xavier Dolls, was unalived in a sacrificial end, something that actually ended up being quite beautiful, but to me it felt really sudden, and I guess that's the way these things can be sometimes. But I'm definitely glad he got to have a say in his own ending, and I'm glad everybody ended on good terms. Anyways, let me know what you guys think of Xavier Dolls, Deputy Marshal of the Black Badge Division. Drop your thoughts in the comments if you've seen Wynona Earp. Let me know who you're looking forward to seeing next, and I will see you guys in my next video.